Hello everybody and welcome to the midweek market update from Smack the Markets for the 2nd of October. So this week is quite a heavy news week. We've got quite a lot of big fundamental announcements sort of coming through. We're halfway through the week now. We've already had some rather disappointing numbers from the US ISM numbers, and that's had quite an impact on a number of markets. Just remember that the week concludes with non-farm payroll numbers at the end on Friday. So let's take a look at how the markets we discussed on Monday are faring out, and a couple of other market opportunities that we're looking at going into the second half of the week. Now, if we take a look at the Dow Jones here and also the S&Ps, what we were looking at on Monday was we're looking at sort of this general short trend to be continuing. The market was sort of finding significant support around the 26,800 level, and also we had this level in here at 26,700. Well, with the help of the disappointing ISM numbers yesterday, we can see that the market has completely sort of sliced through those now. In fact, the market has come down to our sort of midterm target level for this week, which was 26,500, and surpassing that already. Now, before we go any further, let's just take a look at the S&Ps. So the S&Ps are sort of following suit, and the S&Ps are sort of breaking the same levels, and also sort of concluding the sort of target levels that we were looking for. So the question is sort of where now for this market, and where's it going to be going for the remainder of the week? Well, of course, I think it's really going to be driven by the sort of news announcements and those sort of fundamentals that sort of come out, particularly the non-farm payrolls sort of numbers on Friday. But since the market has had quite a move already, and it's sort of broken through some very significant levels, we've got a fairly light news day today on the dollar, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if we maybe sort of get some sort of retracement at some point in time, maybe to sort of come back and retest 26,500, but then ultimately looking for a continuation of short moves here on US indices, possibly down to 26,200, or even down to those sort of 26,000 levels. Now, if we take a look at precious metals, we were looking at short opportunities on precious metals, on gold and silver, particularly going into the beginning of the week. If we look at this on the sort of 4-hour chart, you can see we had a couple of levels in here, structure points, the 1.500 level and the 1.490 level. Now, the markets are now sort of closed through those levels. In fact, if we come up to the daily, you can see that the market almost got down to our sort of 1460 level here, which is the sort of the trading window that we were looking for price to fill. It had almost got down there, sort of 2/3. Now the market's retraced back to the 1490 level, and just in the context of this sort of short trend that we have here, we've got levels of previous support which is going to become resistance for the market moving higher at 1490, and certainly at that 1500 level here. So we've got significant resistance above price, and this sort of area here is certainly a zone where a sort of lower high could form in price action. If that does, well, then we're looking for 1460 as the next sort of level to be retested as the market sort of breaks new lows. Now, it's a similar story when we come and have a look at silver. If we take a look at silver here, again, there was a couple of significant levels on silver, the 1750 level and also the $17 level. You can see that the market has sort of taken those out, and it's actually sort of closed that sort of trading window at 17. Now the market's retracing back up off that level, again in the context of a short trend here with lower highs and lower lows. That 1750 level here is quite an interesting sort of price point where previous support is likely to become resistance, and it's an area where we may well sort of find a good location for a lower high to sort of form. And again, if that sort of forms in there, then we can be looking for a continuation of the short trend down to 1700, and then possibly beyond as well. So we're still looking at still happy with short opportunities on precious metals, and still looking at new opportunities to get into those. If we come and have a look at euro against the Kiwi, this was the Forex market that we were looking for from a long bias on Monday. So we're taking a look at this on the 4-hour time frame. If you remember, our level here of 175 was the sort of breakout level. We had a sort of area here of previous resistance that we were looking for the market to break through. That's happened. So the market broke through 175, almost sort of came up to our sort of filled our trading window, then sort of pulled back to 175, and now we're sort of moving back off 175 again. So still liking this market long, still liking the higher time frames here above 175, and still looking for that market to continue to the long side. So going into the second half of the week, of course, all the markets that we discussed on Monday are playing out very nicely and still continuing to move in those general directions of those trends. I still think that there's a number of markets here that are starting to look quite interesting. One that we've just started to get into here today is Kiwi dollar. So again, looking at these higher time frames, Kiwi dollar has been in a short trend across the board, as you can see here. And just taking a look at the daily chart, the market has retraced back up into this level here on the daily where the market previously found support. And just up here at this sort of level, which we'll probably see a little bit more clearer here on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that we've got a rejection in here, and the trend is now sort of continuing. So this was literally a fresh trade that's starting to play out this morning. But we're liking this one short, and of course, you know, what we're looking for is a continuation of the trend, which means we need to be seeing markets down to these lows and maybe beyond, as well as that for that trend to continue. So there's a few markets there that we're keeping a close eye on going into the second half of this week. I certainly hope it helps. I look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.